Okay, from the pink list of pile of pink list of things I got to talk about. Right, this was a great topic. It's talking about cash reserves and credit lines, etc. What do you need to survive during these weird times? So, this thing blindsided everyone, coronavirus, and what happened with us was we had a lot of cancellations. So we've got 7 mortgages to cover, roughly $22,000 worth of mortgages, and then AIRBNB instituted a policy which made it okay for everyone to cancel the reservation and did not recognize our cancellation policy, which means that basically we lost thousands of dollars in bookings, and for the current last couple months, not to mention what was booked for the future, and that sucked. And there was a lot of anger on the internet towards Airbnb, and then Airbnb instituted a relief fund for hosts that qualified for somewhat of a refund. But at the end of the day, we lost thousands of dollars. Thousands. And I'm still dealing with a booking that wants to get some money back. And I want to give them some money back, or all of the money back, but I'm down a lot. And which brings me to this whole thing about the topic, which is all about cash reserves and line of credit. This is a big lesson for everyone, and I think it's a good lesson, and it's good to go through it. I'm glad I'm going through it right now because we can handle it. You need to have a backup plan for this business if you're going to get into real estate. So, what that means is, if you've got a whole bunch of property that you're depending on people that are renting the property to pay your bills, to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, and their rent, when they pay the rent, it goes towards your mortgage, your utilities, your property tax, everything, all that overhead, their rent is counting, you're counting on that rent to cover all that kind of stuff. Going through this now is the realization that when people are thrown out of their jobs, no fault of their own, and they cannot pay rent, and certain governments have supported the whole idea of you don't have to pay your rent, talk to your landlord, you just have to, pay for, get your food and stuff like that. And I'm all for that. Like, I'm not against people, you gotta put food on the table. But that's a different conversation. The first one I want to really have is about preparing yourself for something like this in the future. So that would be, if you get into this rental game, give yourself a buffer. And that can come in a lot of different forms. One is have a credit line available. So no matter what the government's offering, the government has offered, or the banks are offering, is to defer mortgage payments, because you got to pay a mortgage if your tenant can't pay rent. But those offers suck. Like, you're better off, like what they're going to really give you a terrible deal to pay going forward. So have a credit line ready. It's cheaper than you going and deferring a mortgage payment. So have a credit line ready. So if you can't make your payments because your tenants can't make the payment, then use the credit line. And usually credit lines, depending on the type that you get one like a HELOC, a home equity line of credit that you're only paying interest on. So that's one way to do it. The second is also to have cash on hand. Try to build up a cash backup, about 6 months worth of expenses for all of your things. Just park it there and have it ready. And I would say go to the line of credit first, because I would rather pay a little bit of interest and leave the cash for other things, that if things get worse, cash is always king. But I would say have this backup ready, because it's going to always be a good thing to have in mind. So luckily for us, we've got some credit lines, and we can tap that if we want, but it's totally a thing that you're going to have to consider moving forward. And be prepared, because if it isn't pandemic, it's going to be something else. Whatever your market is, there could be a disaster weather-wise. There could be some economic disaster. You never know what's going to happen. So try to build that up while you're building up your reserves. Okay, that's it. Busboy Millionaire out. Thank you. Bye.